Lola Bunny stood in front of her mirror, admiring her reflection in her Knicks cheerleader uniform. The white and blue fabric hugged her athletic curves perfectly. As a newly acquired member of the squad, she had helped energize the team all the way to the championship finals. The series was tied 3-3, with one final game to determine the champions. "For every point the Knicks score tonight, I'll gain a pound," she whispered, running her paws over her toned stomach. The day of the final game began with Lola visiting an all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet. With each bite, she felt a growing warmth spreading through her body, a tingling sensation that made her shiver with pleasure. By midday, her uniform was already feeling tighter around her midsection. She had gained at least 10 pounds, and the game hadn't even started yet. For lunch, Lola ordered 5 large pizzas delivered to her apartment, along with several family-sized buckets of fried chicken. As she ate, she couldn't help but moan softly, feeling her belly expanding against the fabric of her uniform. When it was time to head to the arena, Lola struggled to pull on her uniform. The fabric stretched tightly across her growing frame, accentuating her swelling curves in a way that made her heart race. The game began, and the Knicks were on fire. By halftime, they had scored 65 points. Lola had already eaten her way through the entire stadium's supply of hot dogs and nachos, adding another 65 pounds to her frame. She could feel her body growing heavier, softer, more sensuous with every bite. "I can barely move," she whispered to herself during the break, her voice husky with desire. The second half was even more intense. The Knicks kept scoring, and Lola kept eating. By the fourth quarter, Lola was enormous. Her uniform was stretched to its limit, and she had to sit on 2 chairs combined to support her weight. She reveled in the feeling of her massive body pressing against the chairs, the fabric of her uniform digging into her soft flesh. The final buzzer sounded. The Knicks had won 112-105, securing the championship. Lola had eaten her way to exactly 112 additional pounds. But her celebration wasn't over. She went to a victory party at a fancy restaurant, where she continued her eating marathon. She consumed entire platters meant for groups, dessert trays, and even other diners' leftovers when they weren't looking. With each mouthful, she felt waves of pleasure washing over her, her body responding to the sensual overload of flavors and textures. The next morning, Lola woke up in her apartment, unable to see her own feet over her massive belly. She had easily passed the 500-pound mark overnight. She ran her paws over her swollen form, shivering at the sensation of her soft, yielding flesh beneath her touch. By the time the new season began, Lola was over 700 pounds. She attended every home game, sitting in a specially constructed VIP area that included a personal buffet station. She loved the feeling of all eyes on her as she ate, her massive body on display for everyone to see. As the season progressed, Lola continued to grow. She developed a routine: morning breakfast buffet, enough for a family of 4, mid-morning snack, usually several pizzas, lunch, often catered from multiple restaurants, afternoon snack, anything she could get delivered, dinner, a multi-course feast, and late-night snack, often whatever the chefs could prepare quickly. Each meal was a sensual experience, a celebration of her growing body and insatiable appetite. By the All-Star break, she was approaching 900 pounds. Moving had become nearly impossible, but Lola didn't mind. She had everything she needed delivered to her, and her apartment had been renovated with wider doorways and reinforced everything. She spent her days in a state of blissful indulgence, her body a temple of pleasure and excess. The second round proved more challenging for the Knicks, but Lola remained confident. She had developed a new pregame ritual, eating 1 pound of food for every point the team scored in their previous game. After a 115-point victory, she consumed 115 pounds of food in a single sitting, pushing her over the 950-pound mark. The sheer volume of food sent her into a state of euphoria, her body trembling with pleasure as it expanded to accommodate the feast. She was so close to her goal of 1,000 pounds, and the team was 1 win away from the championship finals. What if we lose? She wondered to herself, while her personal chef prepared her 3 a.m. snack, a dozen extra-large pizzas with everything. Lola smiled and began to eat. The Knicks won the next day in a blowout, and Lola celebrated by ordering everything on the menu at a nearby restaurant, enough food to feed a small army. She ate until she was breathless, her body quivering with pleasure as it swelled to new proportions. By the time the championship finals began, Lola was just shy of her 1,000-pound goal. The series was tightly contested, with each team trading victories. After 5 games, the series stood at 3-2 in favor of the Knicks. The night before Game 6, Lola made a decision. "I'm going to hit 1,000 pounds tomorrow," she announced to herself. "And we're going to win the championship." Her team of chefs worked through the night, preparing a feast of unprecedented proportions. When Lola woke the next morning, her apartment was filled with enough food to cater a city festival. Game 6 was a nail-biter, with the lead changing hands multiple times. As the game progressed, Lola ate with determination, consuming everything in sight. By the fourth quarter, she was getting close. The Knicks were up by 2 points with 10 seconds left. The opposing team had the ball and a chance to win. Lola held her breath, a turkey leg halfway to her mouth. The championship was theirs. As confetti rained down in the arena, Lola took her final bite of the day. She had done it. She was now officially over 1,000 pounds. "We're champions," she shouted, her voice booming through her custom microphone system. "And I'm a ton of fun." The celebration that followed was legendary. Lola feasted for days, her massive form barely fitting in her reinforced living room, but that didn't stop her from enjoying every moment. She lost herself in a haze of pleasure and indulgence, her body a monument to excess and sensuality. "I never imagined this would be my life," Lola whispered to herself one evening, her paws roaming over her immense, soft body. "But I wouldn't change a thing. I'm happy, I'm successful, and I'm still hungry."